And hello everyone, Lights and Gear is back with a flashlight review, and today is something from EBL. This is a budget flashlight which I got off Amazon, and it's the model AL35 as you can see here. And EBL is, I'm not sure how many other flashlights they may have to their credit. I've mainly seen batteries from them on Amazon, so didn't even know they made flashlights. But anyway, this is what they have here. As you can see, it's a very simple box with it's rather better looking than some others that I've seen, only because it's not quite as generic and it really doesn't say much about the light or anything, but at least it does have the model number on the front of the box. So what you get inside the box, and I have taken everything out up to this point, here is a nice little card that you get, which instructs you to first smile, and then, well, it is a thank you card. So anyway, that's here, and it also has some contact information to the company on the back. So other than that, you get the user manual here, and this is in several different languages, but it really doesn't tell a whole lot about the flashlight, and that's one of the big issues, which I'll get to in a matter of moments here. You also get a USB charging cable, because as it does not say on the box or right here on the front of the light, it is a USB rechargeable flashlight. So this is the USB cable to charge the battery with. Now they do give you batteries as well, and they give you two EBL batteries just like this. I assume all batteries are going to be the same with every package. Now these say 3000 mAh on them, but I can tell you they're not 3000 mAh. They are of the BRC variety. I really don't know what BRC pertains to, but I've seen many batteries with that designation on them. They are usually low capacity unprotected batteries, and that's what I have typically found when I do receive batteries of this type. It does say on here that there is a discharging protection circuit, but in using the batteries and running them down, I did not find that to be particularly true. So my finding was that I could not see that there was much of a protection circuit on them, considering the voltage that they were being allowed to drop to under continuous use. And when I did a test on the batteries for the capacity, they came up to about 2400. So there you go again, it was less than 3000. But be that as it may, they give you two of these, exactly the same, and that's it. I mean, that's a nice gesture, and they're not terrible batteries, they're just not exactly what they claim, at least not that I can see. Here is the flashlight. By the way, it comes wrapped up in bubble wrap in this little package just like that. So here's the light. And it is a reasonably attractive light. It's not terribly large or terribly small, somewhere in the middle here, around 5 inches long. And you have this little copper ring around here, which is, I guess, adds a bit of an attractiveness to it, but probably adds something in the way of water resistance. And you do have a pocket clip here, which is attached, screwed on, so you can take that off if you wish. Other than that, it has reasonably, the knurling here isn't too bad, and it's easy to hold on to with these flat areas around it. It still rolls with no problem. The pocket clip is the only thing that stops it from rolling. And the switch is on the bottom, so that's the only way to operate the light. Meanwhile, the LED is down here in the bottom of a smooth reflector, and it is a quality LED as well. If I go over here to the manual, I can get little bits of information here regarding that, and this does come in various languages here, which is why there isn't a whole lot of information. But anyway, as you can see here, it has the USB cable, as it says, and it uses a Cree XPL HD LED, so it's a good quality LED. Now it says here there are 6 modes. High, medium, and low, followed by an advanced mode with strobe, slow flash, and SOS. Well, if you know me, you would know that I have reviewed many different kinds of flashlights. And with regards to that, I am familiar with all different kinds of user interfaces, but I'll be damned if I can figure out how to make that work. I have gone through the settings many, many times, and I cannot see anywhere where there is a way of actually getting strobe, slow flash, and SOS to work. So that's one problem with the flashlight in itself. Now, unless that's a misprint and it doesn't do that, but I happen to think it might be right, but the fact that it nowhere in the manual does it tell you how to operate the light. I mean, it should be relatively simple, and I think it is, but there's no explanation here. There's no explanation in the manual as to how to operate it. There's no actual instructions of that. I did actually get strobe, I think I got strobe to work once just by mistake, and I couldn't get it back again. So there you go. Anyway, I'll show you all this in a moment. Now on the tail end of the flashlight, there's actually an indicator, a battery voltage meter, if you will. It's okay. I mean, it's right here. It's a little dot inside the power switch, so when you click the power switch you'll get a little light there. If the battery is more than 10%, it's green. If it's less than 10%, it'll be red. Now it does say here that it's waterproof, but they ask you not to soak it in water. I mean, it says it's waterproof, but it is IP68, which I think is more or less water resistant, if I'm not mistaken, other than waterproof. So it's obviously not submersible, but it does have a pretty good beam range distance of 320 meters. Now it does mention here the top lumens are 1,000, but it does not mention any of the other modes, such as medium and low, as to what kind of output you're expected to get with them. And I'll also tell you that there's not much difference between high and medium, but low there's a great distance, so there's a little bit of a misstep in there as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, now you can take the head off if you want and examine the LED. You can take this whole head comes off here, and the reflector pops out, and then the lens pops out, and you can examine the LED up close if you so desire. So anyway, here's how to change the battery, and this is a little different than, in fact, it's very different from any other flashlight I've seen. Take the cap off here, and then you have this section on here, which is where the charging port is, and that's right there for your USB cable. And you have lights in here as a charging indicator. But to get to the battery, you have to take off this portion here. And there you go, with your standard end and your spring. Standard tail cap, more or less. And so anyway, I've never seen this before. So let me put in one of the EBL batteries. Actually, yeah, I suppose I can do that. Sits way down in there. One of these was a little more charged than the other, but I think it will still be able to produce a decent enough beam. I do want to show you the charging aspect of that actually, so let me just plug in another USB cable here so we can just look at that briefly. So plug that in and you'll get, see that? So there's your red. So this tells you that the battery is charging, and then as soon as it's finished charging, obviously this turns green, and it's almost like this entire dial is lit up in green when it's finished charging. So that's not too bad, and that gives you a nice indication of what's going on. So that's how you charge the battery. Now obviously if you use either their battery or one of your choice, and you charge it via the USB cable, you'll never have to undo this again and take out the battery and put it back in. So this may be only a one-time thing that you need to take off both caps, and so that. But if you don't want to use this, then of course you'll have to remove the cap or both caps every single time. This does have reasonably long travel here on these threads, which is good. So these are nicely done, and there's an O-ring right here to seal out the water. And there's nothing inside this cap, which is why the spring is inside that one. And I don't know what the working voltage on this is either, so I have not tried. Actually, I don't think I would try CR123s or anything in the light, because I don't think it would probably accept them safely, because I'm assuming that their voltage requirements are relatively low on this. So I don't think they'd be high enough to take two batteries. So to turn it on, you just give the switch there a little press, and there's your green to indicate that the battery is over 10%. And it is a nice beam, I'll give it that. I mean, it is an XPL high, so it has a long range, and it has a very defined spot in the center of the beam. I think this would be the highest mode right here, right now, and there is mode memory. Let me just adjust my camera. There is mode memory on it as well, so it'll come back to where it was before. Now, with every little press of the button, actually the thing is, in order to change the mode, you have to do it quickly. In this particular instance, where I've been sitting on the mode for a second, if I press the button, it'll just go off. So, to turn it on like that, just gives you whatever mode you were on the last time, and then to click it again turns it off. If I want to switch through the modes, I have to press the tail switch right away as soon as it comes on. There's your high, there's your medium, and you can see there isn't much of a jump. And you see I didn't click low right away, so the next click was just to turn it off. So here we go, high, medium, low. No, wait a minute, let's do that again. High, medium, oh, there's low. Okay, high, medium, low. So there's the low mode, and it's still, low mode is still good for seeing quite a fair distance away due to the sort of focused portion, due to the way the beam is, obviously, due to the way the LED focuses the beam. Low is actually pretty bright, and they don't tell you what those lumens are, so I don't really know. I mean, I can guess this might be 30 lumens or something like that, so it's not terribly, terribly low. And then a click there will turn it off. So there's low, that's back on in memory, you see. Click it like that, and I get to low. Now, if I want to click through again, I have to turn it off and then turn it back on to high. But you see, you have to be quick about it, otherwise your next press will be off. So if you want those other modes, you have to start clicking it as soon as you've turned it on. Now, the only other thing I've discovered that it does do, let me get over to medium. On medium mode, and again, you have to do this as soon as you reach the mode. On medium mode, if I get to it right away and then press and hold the button, it does this little, I don't know what you call, it's sort of like a breathing thing here. It ramps down a little bit and then ramps back up again. I don't see that there'd be any possible reason to have to use anything like this, but I'm just telling you that's what it does. And it only seems to do this on medium mode, which is very, very bizarre. But that's what it does there. And then press it again and it'll turn off. Now the other thing I realized it does, and if I'm on high, as soon as I get to high and then hold the button in without clicking it, it'll do this little flash just like that, and then the only thing I can do with the button is click it on in high and off again, almost tactically, but it does make a clicking sound. It's not totally silent, but it's almost like a tactical operation. So as long as your finger is on the button, it'll be on, but then release it and it'll turn off, and that's the only thing it'll do. And that's a strange thing that it does, and that's only on the high mode. So I'd have to turn it on in high again, and then keep holding it, and then wait for it to flash, and now it'll be back to the regular sequencing again. So those are the things that I found out that it does do. This is where I cannot find out, or this is where I cannot get it to activate any of the other modes, such as SOS and strobe. I don't know how I got to it the other day. It was just by accident, and I don't know why it did it, and I cannot get it to do it again. So those are the issues with the flashlight. Other than that, it's not a bad little light. It just has these issues, and the user manual is no help at all. But there is a link below if you want to check out if you want to check this out on Amazon. Oh, by the way, I was going to show you a couple of pictures here. Just stand by for a second, and I'll show you what the light looks like outside, because the beam does a fairly good job outside. So let's now take a look at those shots of it on high, medium, and low, taken outside. Okay, so there you go. But anyway, as I say, there is a link below to the Amazon page on the light if you want to take a look at it and pick one up for whatever reason you might want it for. It's not a bad light. It's a budget light. It won't cost you a whole lot, but there are obviously a couple of little issues which I just don't understand. And unless somebody else knows, I guess, I don't know, I guess, well, who knows. But if I ever figure anything out on this as far as the flashing modes, I will put that in the description and let you all know afterwards what I found out. And so that's the EBL, and in this particular case it is the AL35. And that's our review for today. If you want to head over to Lights and Gear and take a look at other flashlights, batteries, and chargers, please do. And until then, we'll see you next time. Questions or comments, let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care.